Hello guys, welcome back to Movie Reviews, Series 8, Part 2, Episode 7, 12. Let's get started. The Bodyguard from 1992. A very popular movie. This is regarded as one of the best movies of from 1992. Kevin Costner, Whitney Houston, very good. Directed by Mitch Jackson. He has a very good, strong, I think he has a nice, decent noir, classical noir flair to it as well, which is decently good. I mean, the song, of course, Whitney Houston, always, I will always love you. Excellent, fantastic. Always recognizable. It's basically Whitney Houston's signature tune, of course, for the associated with the movie. Kevin Costner, of course, I think he's good. He has done a few different films before. I remember seeing stuff like Dances with Wolves. He did Waterworld, and he did The Postman as well. I'm trying to think what else he did. Kevin Costner, what else did he do? I really can't think of anything else, but those three movies still stick in my mind very much, along with this one, Bodyguard. Really good. I've still got the VHS release of it, of course. If you've seen my VHS update thing, I've actually found the old VHS of The Bodyguard. I've still kept it, and still good. I still think it's really good. This is my brief sort of review of it. I mean, everyone's talking about The Bodyguard on YouTube. The Bodyguard, not the television series with Keely Hawes and Richard Madden, which actually did win the NTA award, just to let you know. This video's going to get dated, but it did win an award, of course, and good for them. But the actual television movie, the actual movie itself, from now too, is still arguably the best. People would say it's fantastic. Maybe some people might be a bit different about it, but I think I'm staying in the positive light. Everyone says it's perfect. That's good. So that's brief. That is very brief for The Bodyguard. I've seen The Bodyguard. Nothing else to say about it, of course. So it's out there. It's over and done with. I can't. If you want to see a full, in-depth review of it, check on somebody else's channel, not mine. So that's it. So where can I go from here? I'll go with Forever Young, because I'm trying to think of the listen order as well, so I'll go with Forever Young next. So, number 8. Forever Young, this is interesting. It's basically like a love story to do with Mel Gibson, basically a pilot who basically has to go to the war, go for the war and leaves his wife. However, I think he found out that his wife has sadly died, or something like that, and so, for some strange reason, he gets cryogenically frozen. He doesn't wake up until about 92, 93, when some kids actually were waking him from his cryogenic slumber. And there, he's basically trying to adapt to, this new decade, of course, because he's from the 1940s, he is, and this has been maybe 40, 50 years later, that he's awakened, and he has to adapt to this new society and everything else, everything's changed. While he's there, he gets he gets a love relationship from a later ancestor of his wife or love life, and it's pretty decent. It's again, of course, Mel Gibson. I think at that time he was doing well. Of course, 99. I think in the 1990s he did some really good ones like Braveheart as well. Payback's another one. Ransom. Yeah, Ransom. I think. I thought of Nicolas Cage for a second, but it's Mel Gibson, Ransom. And also obviously doing the Lethal Weapon series, of course. 3 and 4 came out the same decade as well. But he's been really been good. He has. I mean, at that sort of period, he has. I think when it comes to 2000, of course, it's kind of a bit and controversy sparks up. But I think recently he sort of came back into the limelight with Hacksaw Ridge, of course, and he's doing the sequel to The Passion of the Christ. Interesting. Which is going to be fun. So Forever Young, I remember seeing a promo trailer years ago of it on a Warner Brothers VHS promo, and I thought that's an interesting film. I didn't realise that we had it on VHS many years ago, so I think, okay. I remember watching it, I think it's really good. And more recently, my parents actually did watch it as well on TV one time. Of course, it was getting close to the end. I think when they were going around, I think it was when he was going around the planes, he was flying around or something like that. I think it was getting close to the end, it was. But it was really great film it is. I really do enjoy it. It's basically you do anything for you, maybe for greed, for your love, for your own love. and somehow you end up frozen, and you end up somewhere 50 years in the future. Interesting. It's an interesting concept, but I think it's never been done since. It's the only movie that's sort of done it, really, I think. Comment down below if any movies have done that. Crouching Tiger, Frozen, you've end up in a place for maybe 40 years, and you regain love or something like that. You find someone who resembles your love life from back in the 1940s, something like that, during World War II. Okay. But it was really good, I do have to admit. It's a nice little romantic comedy drama, of course. Amazing. So that's Forever Young from 93. Number 9, Jumanji, 1985. This is an instant classic, of course. Very, very good. Featured the late Robin Williams, of course, about a man who's been trapped in this board game for many years. He played it as a child, and apparently he ended up being sucked in the game and never came out until years later, and he'd been surviving. Once these kids play the game, or actually find the game and place it, they release him, and all hell breaks loose with all animals and everything coming around and, running amok around the cities and all that sort of stuff, which really, it's pretty good, it is. Really good. I mean, it's always regarded as an instant classic, of course, 95. Again, big stuff going on there. Jumanji, big movie. I have it on VHS, I have the big box. At least I think it's a rent, probably a big rental release. Someone actually commented down when I did the sort of the VHS bundle stuff from I think like part 3. I think I did. I had part 2 or 3. Someone commented about the big boxes all do with X rentals or something like that. But overall, it was pretty good. I mean, there's some decent stuff in there. That's amazing. Again, like with maybe Bodyguard and all, with instead of movies, it's a movie that's been taught to death pretty much. There are some, really, there's a great people actually do talk about these movies, of course. So I'm not one of those people to really go in depth for this movie, but it's pretty good. It's an all-time classic, of course, of the 90s. Everyone enjoys it along with Jurassic Park and all that sort of stuff. So, yes. So that's all I can really say. I mean, I'd say it's a good movie. That's all I can say. I have nothing else to say, okay? Jumanji, 95. That's number 9. Number 10. So, I think for these last 3, these are going to be more interesting, a bit more in-depth in review. So, let's talk about Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. So this actually came out in 1998. This is sort of a semi-sequel to the original TV show Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? From that began in the 1960s. And what it does is it basically shows, it sort of retells like what after the gang of the Scooby and the gang sort of split they did, and they basically have different jobs and everything else. It's actually really interesting. It is. I mean, coming off all these other TV shows that came about, there's one with Vincent Price in from 85. I forgot the name of that now. 13 Ghosts. That's it. That came out in 85, and I put one in Scooby-Doo, of course. Really. So all them seem very meaningless. Of course they do. I think that's what people sort of suggested at the time. There's a documentary about the direct-to-video DVDs focused on Samba and 2 Cyber Chase, and they do mention once Where Are You finished, there was all these again sequel clones and everything else that really sort of shook up the form. Didn't really do the format justice at all. What the original was meant to do. They really just reinvigorated and did totally different things with it. When you come and after Pumpkin and Scooby-Doo, it's all the franchise just disappeared for a bit. It disappeared for a long time, and there have been reruns of the old show here and there. And it wasn't until '98 that this came out. And what it does, it resets the status quo of what the original did. It talks about the they're so the Scooby Gang, of course, the Mystery Gang are all grown up. They are, they're sort of they become I'm trying to think, it's a bit more since it's in the movie. Definitely sort of like a paranormal, paranormal investigator, of course. I go with Fred, who's a cameraman. I'm really trying to think. And Velma, I think she was like an interviewer or something like that. A bit like a talk show host in a sort of way. I think, get me wrong, it's been a while since I've seen the movie. My memory's not that, so I can't remember that much. But basically, they're all doing individual jobs, not solving mysteries, of course. They're doing their own thing, all grow up as adults. And then they came back together, and for some, I don't know, some apparent reason, of course, and they sort of meet up. And then they go to Mississippi, into the deep south. And this is where things sort of get into really dark, creepy, into more intense, creepy stuff. I do find this particular direct-to-video movie itself is really the best because of its own scare factor. It's creepy, design-wise, it's interesting. There's a really good voice cast, of course. I mean, I think what her name is, Adrienne something. I really forgot her name. Adrienne. She's one of the main supporting characters. Who's actually the main villain, of course, is in there. Bloody hell! I really forgot the because I did research it. I researched this just maybe a week ago or something. I've just completely forgot it now. Again, I don't have notes at all. But the voice cast is amazing. There's a few familiar faces there. You can go and research it yourself. Visually, the animation was done by a Japanese company called Mook Animation, who actually went on to the other movies, of course, with The Witch's Ghost, The Alien Invaders, and Cyber Chase. They only did 4 movies, which are actually considered the best ones. The best direct-to-video Scooby-Doo movies ever. After that, you just get... not the best, but those 4 movies in particular work well. I think Zombie Island is the best. That ranks the best because of it's very intense. It's got a lot of tension to it, I do have to admit. I mean, the zombies themselves are really very designed. It's very... they're like voodoo, very much. Again, there's like a voodoo element to it as well, which is pretty interesting. You have cat people, of course, like werewolf or werecats, which apparently in a flashback, they actually lured some pirates away. Of course, they were trying to take the land. And apparently these people have been living for hundreds of years on this island in the Mississippi, and they basically let them into the water and just kill them all, savagely, brutally murder them. It's really dark, and some scenes do stick out, of course. When they get chased by a zombie, when Scooby get chased by a zombie, they sort of bump into Velma and Daphne, of course, who are actually investigating the van, which Shaggy and Scooby were eating raw shrimps and everything like that, and once they found the zombie, Fred, of course, reveals I wonder who's underneath this mask. But apparently, it doesn't work because it's an actual undead person. And he just rips his head off, and it's just, I think it's real, and they shoot on camera, and it's just like that moment. It's like they are dealing with something very serious. Of course, it's not a man in a costume anymore. It is to do with spiritual and something. It's again like voodoo and spirits and everything like that. It's very dark stuff. I mean, do a sundial as well and in a full moon. It's there's a lot of stuff a lot of things going on. I mean, and it's just it's just really good. I mean, I remember watching as a kid years ago. It's really, it still holds up. It does. I mean, it's just something. Considering it came out in 98, I actually thought it came out in 91, to be honest. I just don't know really. But for all those years, I really enjoyed it. Really dark in places. It's good child comedy moments, of course, but it's quite different from what came before and what comes after. I mean, you have those weird oddity bits. You have the strange oddity in the middle. I think especially in the 90s, of course, when they sort of redo something like a franchise or something like that. They bring some similar elements in, but they retool it to make it a bit more darker. You get that in a few things, and Scooby-Doo is one of them. It's just really good. And I do think, of course, the animation company Mook have actually really done a good job of capturing. There was a thing that I actually watched a documentary of, which was they try to capture the original 60s vibe of it, to make it sort of think like it's a continuation of the original series, which technically it is. It really is in a way, because it follows on from the original series, not from all these series that came here and before, which are completely garbage in a way. Some of them are sort of over a bit, nah, it's okay, but some of them are just completely, oh god. That's about it, really. It's just a really good movie, it is. I mean, probably it's always one of my best Scooby-Doo movies. I mean, I've seen all the other ones that Mook Animation have done, up to Savage Chase. They're good as well. I think Savage Chase is sort of the second best as well, followed by Alien Invaders, then Witch's Ghost, I think. You know, there's always some weird, funny moments as well, even in the movies as well. You know, but it's just really good. It's a shame they never actually done many more. Of course, after Cyber Chase, you know, it would have been an interesting movie franchise to go across. Interesting stories, different premises. It's just great. Even though I think Cyber Chase actually follows on from Zombie Island, of course, like it's an actual sequel to that. Probably. I think it is actually. Come to think of it, yes. Yeah, and the two in the middle are also like just normal stories, very much. Like you basically get. But Scooby-Doo and Zombie Island, really good. Interesting childhood favourite, and probably worth talking about. If you want to learn a bit more about it, there's a documentary to do the direct-to-video DVDs. It does talk about Zombie Island, Witch's Ghost, Alien Invaders, then Cyber Chase. It's worth talking about that alone to get more interesting stuff out of it. But for me, really good. Number 11, Stuart Little, 1999. This, I think no one's really talked about this movie before. I think it's a very good movie. This is really, again, another one from childhood as well. Again, like Scooby-Doo and Zombie Island. You know, this is another one that came out. I was 2 when this came out. I remember getting the VHS. I think it's like big bulky Columbia in a yellow casing and stuff like that. It's just pretty interesting. You have an interesting voice cast because you got Michael J. Fox as Stuart Little. At this time, though, I think he sort of stopped acting for a bit because he had Parkinson's disease and everything like that. But he lent his voice to Stuart Little in this nice animated movie. I mean, it's basically to do with family, you know, the importance of family very much. And it's really, you know, the family comes in all shapes and sizes, of course. You focus on the Little family. Mr. Little, played by Hugh Laurie. And you've got, I can't remember the actress' name who plays the wife, Mrs. Little. Then you've got Jonathan Little, of course, by Jonathan Libnicki. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He's there, and what he wants is a little brother, of course. You know, for being an only child and everything, I think he wants that sort of. Maybe I think his parents are a bit dubious about it, though. You can understand from the Littles, Mr. and Mrs. Little. They're sort of, you can look at them and think, do they really want another child, though? They do think like they're sort of like straight-laced and everything, a bit like that. No, they're like the weird quirks in a way, sort of New York, New Yorker quirks they do. But it's pretty interesting in a way. Then it's still on Stuart Little, and it's sort of like in the adoption centre. I think in the adoption centre, yeah. And he's this little white mouse in actual normal clothing, like people's clothing, and it's like, okay. And they think, and they sort of bring him into their family. It's weird. It's a weird idea to have a little talking mouse who dresses in clothing, who has similar ideas as a human, to become a little boy's brother. I don't know how that works. I don't know what the original story. I don't know if that's based on a book or something like that, or it's a story that someone's come up with. It's like, really, okay. So we get introduced to the family cat, Snowbell, of course, played by, wasn't it, Nathan Lane? Who's the voice? Really funny. I mean, again, one of the highlights of that movie, of course, Nathan Lane's voice is Snowflake. It has that weird sort of like comedic sort of like, I don't know what you call it. I don't know. It's just something about his voice that really works well in that movie. It like suits the character, of course. Unlike, what's that character? Oh, is it Mr. Tiggles? Is it Tiddles? I forgot the name. It's from Cats and Dogs. I forgot the name. I don't know if it's Nathan Lane again, but it's I think I don't know really. I've lost track now. Snowbell, Stuart Little, of course. I mean, Nathan Lane, perfect voice. It's a very good family comedy itself. I mean, it works. It's a children's movie, of course, but it has like a family comedy thing about it as well, which sort of works. And You know, one thing to point out is Alan Silvestri's score for Stuart Little, amazing, really good. I think one of the highlights for me is the boat race. You know, for the boat race scene, of course, in Central Park. Different. It's very good, very bombastic, very energetic in a way. Like he has this moment of tensiousness as well. Like it's like it's like a tense chase scene, but it's for a boat race. It's like, and you can see from Stuart's point of view, like he's on the boat and he's like against other people. They're basically using remote controls and sailing boats and everything like that. You know, it's really good. Funny thing about that movie, that little piece of music, of course, was used as a temp track for a movie, which I'll discuss in Series 10. I'll discuss that, actually. But it was used as a temp track, and it actually worked well in that particular scene of that particular movie, rather than what was originally what was meant to was actually put on it. Some people understand what I mean. Some people don't. So yeah, so Sylvester's score really good, and it's just a really good movie. It is. I mean, there's some good animation for Stuart, of course. The animation now is a bit seamless as well. I mean, there's nothing really wrong with that, of course. You know, I mean, there's other films that have sort of done that as well, and actually are a bit shit in a way. And but some movies like from the late 90s, early 2000s sort of do well than what we get these days, to be honest. I mean, they sort of improve it, but it's that charm of it that sort of works. You know, and you get for characters, of course, you get, you know, Snowbell's friend Monty, again, another good one, who's basically the idiot. He's idiotic best friend. That's good. You have all the other characters as well. I think Smokey's another one, like this big, you know, cat leader that's all Snowbell falls to, who basically wants to have Stuart. Of course, it just really, and something weird about that is like there's a weird gang mentality with the cats, of course. That's, you know, Snowbell and Monty knew. You know, there's like this weird, it's like weird, like banter humor as well. You know, it's really something about that's really funny as well. Like I think it's like it's scripted dialogue. I don't know if she wrote it, but he works in a way, and you know, lots of good stuff from New York as well. Lovely filmed. Favorite scenes, of course, but some particular scenes that sort of stick out to me. Again, you know, the boat race scene, which is perfect. The scene where Stuart gets stuck in the washing machine when he drowns and everything, like he gets caught in the washing machine. That's always a very memorable scene, of course. You know, I know that sounds a bit sort of like, oh god, you know, like, you know, I think when kids watch that, I think, oh my god, he's getting drowned. That sort of thing. It's like, even as a kid, I think, oh my god, really? Are they going to put, you know, they're going to put this little talking mouse in the washing machine and let him drown in chemicals and everything and dirty washing? It's like, oh, well, that's never happened before, so okay, we'll let it slip. Think of else. I'm really trying to think of anything else. The scene where, what was it called? Like a social, like adoption manager or something came over to the Littles, and they basically mentioned about Stuart's parents, and they mentioned his actual parents actually got killed by a fallen tin, like from a pile of tins. I think one of them, like the top one, just dropped off and spat them. And they said, "Oh yeah, it was like was it aisle 6, cream of mushroom or something like that." I do find that hilarious in a way. Like they're going into a bit detail, like it's on aisle 6, big cream of tin of mushroom, cream mushroom, yeah. You know, but it's quite sad in a way. Like you think, yeah, and they were just doing the daily shopping they were, and it's got splattered. And these parents who are basically like in the way like Joe Pesci, like, well, you know, in a sort of way, like, you know, these sort of like, you know, sort of, I call him Joe, like, well, his father's a bit like Joe Pesci in a way. You know, these sort of like strict, you know, like these like fake parents. To be honest, they're okay, but they're not his actual parents, of course. But they're interesting characters indeed. Interesting stuff. You know, sort of like Stuart driving like some little toy car around. Pretty good. The model work, its little remote control work is pretty good as well. Indeed. You know, there's some, you know, the animation itself with Stuart as well is fantastic, I do have to admit. And it's a very good movie. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. And the sequel itself from, you know, Stuart Little 2, really good. I haven't seen the third one though. Even though that's sort of that's sort of like full blown CGI animation. I've never seen that, but I've only seen the first two, and they probably are better. Even though the third one has still have Hugh Laurie and Michael J. Fox as the voices, as as their retrospective characters. I think everyone else, all the cast as well, that sort of joined, did that as well. So there's a decent trilogy out of it. But I think the first two are sort of better, in a way. You decide on that. And finally, number 12, the finale. Bean, the ultimate disaster movie. Well, this is a turn of events. So, Mr. Bean, based on the TV show that ran from between 1990 and 95, which was done by Rowan Atkinson, Richard Curtis, and some guy called Robin, I forgot the last name, Robin something or whatever, and that was a big success here in the UK, really big. And he sort of gained some traction in the US, and apparently they want to do a movie about it. And it's a very interesting movie, of course, because you have people like Pete. What's his name? Ustinov or something. His name is not Ustinov. I think the older actor. I mean, the guy who was in Ghostbusters 2 played Janos in Ghostbusters 2. He's in it. You have Burt Reynolds as a general. You have a few bits and pieces here and there. It's directed by the late Mel Smith, who was famous for doing with his partnership with Griff Rhys-Jones, of course, who actually was on 9 O'Clock News with Rowan Atkinson, and became good friends there. And he directed The Tall Guy with Jeff Goldblum and Emma Thompson, which Rowan Atkinson actually did star in as well. So there's weird connections to this as well. Again, Richard Curtis sort of a hand as well. He also wrote for 9 O'Clock News. Again, good friends with Rowan Atkinson, who then met in university, I think, and Howard Goodall does the music as well. Again, an old friend, uni friend of Curtis and Atkinson as well. So there's a lot of interesting talents and connected talents as well on this movie, of course. It's really good though. It's basically Bean takes over America, more specifically Hollywood. Really, it's a fun movie. There's a lot of good stuff in there, like very fullable, memorable scenes, and it's just hilarious. There's a lot of good memorable moments, of course, and lots of slapstick, a lot of physical stuff that he does. I mean, the airport scene, of course, when he pretends to have a gun in his hand, and he gets sort of he thinks it's like a little practical joke, like he pretends he holds a gun. They get wind of this, and they sort of like hold guns to his face and everything like that, and he just panics like mad. It's just really funny. The toilet scene, of course, when he wets himself by accident, he uses the blow dryer. I've seen a few people online on social media actually do this as well. It's some people still do this to the very day, apparently. Oh, back in those days, yes. Back in my days when I was a teen, when we were all teenagers, that was a thing that we sort of actually did. That's all we searched quite a bit in a few years, and wow, funny. The Funfair scene, of course, with the roller coaster, that that interactive ride when they go on a screen. And people are enjoying it, of course, and he's just like asleep. He is. While it said go and get another ticket, he tampers with it and he goes all wild, and he's just like loving it, eyes mad, and just really enjoying it. Everyone's just flying out of the seats all over into the screen and everything. It's just hilarious. The hospital scene, of course, when he resurrects, when he helps with this police officer they meet before in the airport. He meets the two bulls in the movie, and he just puts his hand in, and he just takes the bullet out easy, and he springs back to life, and tries to resurrect his. I can't forget his name. Peter. I'll just call him Janos for now. Janos' daughter. He misses the defibrillator, of course, while dressed as a surgeon, and he hears weird sound waves, of course, and he puts them on his chest and he flies back and lands on Jonas' daughter, and he somehow wakes her up because she got caught in a motorcycle accident, of course. Also, stuff to do with like buying going to an art gallery, stealing a painting, of course, involving laxatives and a security guard, of course, which is a funny gag actually, to be honest. Like, he puts like maybe 5 scoops of laxatives in his coffee. Wow. And he goes to the toilet quickly. And there's another gag, of course, when and the gag returns when he's in the hospital. He pumps out the toilet and said, and he's like, oh God. And he goes back in. It's just funny. Oh, I still got it in VHS, but I remember I didn't get it until late, well, quite later actually, along with I think the others actually, like part of the TV show and the compilation VHS, of course, which many of my sisters, but I still kept them just for purposeful reasons. Yeah, so being the ultimate disaster movie, it's really good. It's better than Mr. Bean's Holiday, though. I do have to admit. I think, well, to be honest, Bean's Holidays again follows a similar thing. I mean, that's memorable, of course, but this one's a bit more. It's more directed, of course. I mean, you have like more comedy talent again, like with Mel Swift's direction. It's filmed in Hollywood. I mean, filmed in Hollywood. You have like familiar people again, Howard Goodall, you know, and interesting, a small and a very sort of well-known cast as well, surrounding him in these events, and it just works in a way. And it was like a big success. You know, it's still memorable and still being repeated on television to this very day. And there we go. Now, this one's a bit longer, I do have to admit, but I've been talking about 3 movies I've been so interested to talk about, maybe 2 of them, of course. So that's it. That's series out the window. Sorry for this rambling and very incoherent 2-parter thing, but it's just a build up to series 10. And I'll see you next time in the next video, probably series 9 or another video entirely. I have no idea. But thanks for watching. See you for the next video, and goodbye.